In this video, we're going to create this really cool and fun shaker card. Hi, this is Anna from Crafty Anna Studio. Welcome to my YouTube channel where I post paper crafting and card making tutorials. I have here a piece of watercolor cardstock, which I will spray with fuchsia and gold spray from Hero Arts, pink and gold spray also from Hero Arts, and this one is the Ranger Tim Holtz Distress Oxide Spray. I will bring out my splatter box, which is just an old shoebox where I can keep all the spray contained, as I don't want it splattering all over the place. So I'll take the first one, which is the fuchsia and gold spray, and I'm going to just do a 2 to 3 spritz onto the panel. Then I will take the pink and gold spray, which came in this one's kit, and I will spray that as well. And before I spray the third color, I'm going to bring out my heat gun and just heat up the panel a little bit to dry it. The reason I'm doing this is because I don't want the colors to all mix together, but rather just sit one on top of each other so you can distinctly see the differences in the shades of pink. After spraying the oxide spray, I heat it once again with my heat gun. Then I will spray more of the pink spray to cover up the white edges. I like how the colors turned out, so I'm going to heat it once again with the heat tool just to dry it up a bit. Then I'm going to pick it up with my reverse tweezers and set it aside somewhere else to dry. This is what it looks like when dry, and you can see the gold from the spray really shimmers and shines through. And because this is mixed media, I'm not going to stop with just spraying on the panel. I'm going to use this bold print stamp, some embossing ink, and some embossing powder to add more detail onto the background. So first, I am putting embossing ink onto the cling stamp, and then folding the cling stamp, I'm going to stamp it onto the panel in just select areas. This is called taco stamping. I'm actually not sure if this is a mixed media terminology, but this was coined by Lydia, who is a Hero Arts designer as well, and she uses this technique to add dimension and interest to mixed media backgrounds. Lydia taught this technique in one of the Hero Arts mixed media stamp-along events, which Hero Arts has about twice a year. So if you're interested in these stamp-along events, I will post it on my blog, which is linked below. So after stamping the pattern onto the panel, I am now sprinkling some embossing powder. This one is rose gold embossing powder. And then with a paintbrush, I'm going to brush off some loose embossing powder sitting on top of the paper. Then with a heat gun, I will heat up the embossing powder until it's shiny and melted. But wait, I'm not done yet. I'm going to add more to this background. I'm using this musical notes from the Hero Arts background texture stamp set mounted on an acrylic block, and I'm just going to stamp this out randomly all over the panel using Festive Berries oxiding. After all that stamping, spraying, and embossing, I'm ready to turn this into a card. But not just any card, I wanted to make this a shaker card. So I'm going to be using this oval nesting dies from Hero Arts to create an opening for the shaker card. I placed it somewhere in the middle of the card, And I'm just estimating more or less the position, and then I'm going to die cut it off camera on my die cutting machine. After die cutting the oval, I'm going to set aside the negative piece and trim off the sides so it will fit an A2 size panel. I thought the edges of the inside oval looked a little plain as well as the edges of the outside, so I decided to add a little bit of embossing detail to the card. So I took the embossing ink and I swiping it all over the edges of the card. And I'll do the same for the inside edges of the oval. Then I will sprinkle embossing powder both in the inside and the outer edges. Then I will use a paintbrush to brush off the excess. I will use the heat gun to heat the embossing powder until it's shiny and melted. You can see that it looks a little bit messy, but that's what I like about mixed media. It just has this really nice vintage feel to it. Now I'm going to take an acetate sheet and adhere it to the back of the opening. I add liquid glue to the back. I like using liquid glue because I can move things around and it has some time to fix things before it sets. But you can use double-sided tape if that's what you have. Then I will trim off the excess acetate that's hanging out from the bottom. For the focal point of the card, I die cut 2 bird cages out of the gold mirror cardstock. These bird cages and hearts are from the Hero Arts Vintage Bird Cage Fancy Die Set. The hearts are cut out using glitter cardstock from Altenew. Off camera, I already placed some double-sided foam tape at the back. I left the area around the oval so I can place this thin double-sided tape which are flexible enough to go around the oval quite easily. By the way, if you're new to my channel or haven't subscribed yet, I would love it if you could support my channel and hit the subscribe button. And while you're here, let me know in the comments below if you like doing mixed media projects. For the base of the shaker card, I am using some pink cardstock. I will place the oval that I had die cut out earlier as the background of the shaker. To make sure it's aligned with the window of the shaker, I place the oval at the back of the window. In hindsight, I should have done this before putting the foam tape, but it all worked out in the end. I added glue all over the back of the oval before placing it down onto the pink card base. And I took one of the gold bird cages and glued it right in the middle of the oval. Then I added the birdcage stand right in the middle. Next, I will add the 2 lovebirds, which I had also cut out of glitter cardstock. Then for the shaker element, I will use this pink sequence mix from Picket Fence. Next, I will remove the backer from the foam tape. Then I will place down the window panel using the upper left-hand corner and the edges as a guide before securing it onto the base. Then I'll take the other die-cut birdcage and add it on top. Next, I will embellish it with the little die-cut glitter hearts. For the sentiment of my card, I'll be using this Be Mine sentiment from the I Love You stamp set. I'll be heat embossing the sentiment with rose gold embossing powder. But first I'll add anti-static powder onto the glitter cardstock. I was pleasantly surprised on how easy it was to heat emboss on this glitter cardstock. Then I use a paper trimmer to trim the sentiment. I trimmed one end and then did an angle cut on the other end. I added foam dimension to the back and then adhered the sentiment on the lower right-hand side. I hope you found this video inspiring. The technique showed in this video can certainly be applied to supplies you already have in your stash. But if you're interested in checking out the products I did use, they are all listed in my blog post, which I will link below. Thank you so much for watching. Till next time, bye!